from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's going to get a little autumnal for this season. Be seasoned with lulls and pointless manager. Welcome to Sleep With Me. It's a podcast that's here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff so you could fall asleep. I'm glad you're here. Whether you're new or you're a regular listener, or you just come and go, you're checking the show out, or you only need it time to time, I'm so glad you're here. And I'm really hoping I can help you out, or I'm really glad I get to help you out episode after episode after episode, or just when you need me. I don't know. Was there just a clicking? I was just hearing a clicking. I put my elbow against this wall. Believe it or not, I could touch both walls right now with just my elbows. You may be saying, what in the name of elbow macaroni are you talking about? Well, this is welcome. This is Sleep With Me. It's a podcast to take your mind off stuff and keep you company so you can fall asleep, which is a little bit different. You're right. It is a bit different and strange. That's a great question. I think it's my headphones that are clicking, so only I can hear it, which, holy moly. So I think I got that fixed. Sorry for the distraction. It's the very beginning of the show, so very distractible. So welcome. What I'm going to do is just keep you company and talk. If you're new, you'll kind of see what we got coming up as support, so paying for the show is optional for those people that benefit the most. Then a long, meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime. And then our episodically modular series, Big Farm in the Sky, got Besos PI. Kind of, those are mixed together. And it'll be like a seasonal themed episode, though it'll take place in there, it'll be whatever. It'll be nice and people will be dressing up, not fancy, like dressing up like in costume. So I'm glad you're here. I work really hard. I yearn and I strive. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. So thanks again for checking the show out. And if you're new, just kind of stick around and see how it goes. That's all I could say. But I am really glad you're here. If you are a super listener, you fall asleep fast, you listen all night long, you listen episode after episode after episode. The show makes your life a lot better. You're the listeners we count on to keep the show going for you and everybody else. And these are the ways you could participate. If the show makes your life better, you see, man, the show really makes my life better. How can I help? These are the ways you could do it. Hey, everybody, Scoots. It's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix, and this is going to be an interactive experience or indirect interactive. So you're going to go to helixsleep.com/sleep. That's where I'm going now because I'm trying to pick out a new mattress. I moved. I couldn't bring my Helix with me. I miss it so much. So I'm going to take the sleep quiz. And I'm looking for a queen size. And, first thing you do is pick your sleep position. I sleep mostly on my stomach, a little bit on my side. I do it, I guess, but I'm tossing and turning most nights. So I'm going to pick toss and turn. My preference has changed over the last, traveling. I think I do prefer a firm feel. So I'm going to pick firm feel. Do I ever wake up with back pain? Sometimes I do. So I'm going to pick sometimes. And how often do you sleep hot? Every night is when I sleep hot. I got to stay cool. And so the mattress I got matched with was the Helix Twilight. It's a firm feel, 2-edge support, breathable cover for side sleepers. And I do think I want it with the Glaciotex cool cover and cool force layer. So I'm going to pick out some more details here in a little bit before I get it. But that's how easy it is to find the mattress that suits you and your needs, right? I want the mattress that fits my needs. Doesn't mean it's going to be the best mattress for you. That's what's amazing about Helix and their quiz. You just take the quiz. You see if it fits your needs. You take it with your partner. You pick the mattress you get matched with. And then it comes straight to your door, shipped free of charge, and you just set it up, and you're good to go. I mean, I cannot wait to get back into a Helix mattress. So let me know, take the quiz, let me know what mattress you get matched with, and then Helix always has great deals for our listeners, so check it out. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep to see the latest offers for Sleep With Me listeners. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for current offers. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. HelixSleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble, getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you can set aside whatever's keeping you awake. That could be thoughts on your mind, things you're thinking about, thoughts about the past, the present, the future, thoughts that are just there. Always thinking. My mind, always think. I'm always thinking, but mostly about me in the past, the present, and the future. Actually, very rarely about the present. Always thinking. Say, please, can't you take a break? Well, what do we? Why would we take a break? Well, I could use a break right now. Okay, like I don't like. So it could be thoughts, it could be feelings, anything emotionally coming up for you, related to those thoughts or feelings that are just there. Feelings make an appearance with those thoughts. Maybe they're in. Am I using cohort correctly, or cahoots? I mean, like a cohort. What's the difference between someone who's in cahoots and a cohort? Could somebody remind me a cohort that's in cahoots? We could do that for Sleep With Me, because in cahoots has a pretty broad meaning, right? But it means like working together. Ideally for something where you're going to grin. We're in cahoots with Scoots Magoots. A cohort is like working together. Maybe that's more professional. People try to keep their cahoots separate from their professions, except for me. I mean, it's kind of my job. But your thoughts and your feelings, they could be, rarely at bedtime are they in cahoots, as I'm thinking. Like, it's rarely a hoot. Unless they're in like cahoots that cause a conundrum. But, yeah, I mean, it does feel like sometimes they're working as a cohort. That's what I was saying. But then I got mixed up by all these words. See, man, why I mean, I guess the goal of this podcast is get everything more in cahoots versus a cohort. Well, no, we're going to be in a cohort. We're doing a rigorous study of, between your thoughts and your feelings and your physical sense. We're working together right now, bedtime. Oh, yeah, we're doing an in-depth analysis and loud discussion within your brain or your imagination. Okay. Couldn't we be in cahoots? Like have like a 20-second tickle party? Tickle one another, even if it's just proverbially, and then go to bed? Like kind of like a sleepover? No, we're a professional cohort. Well, you just almost mispronounced cohort, though. And also, you're my thoughts and my feelings. Correct. We're doing some rigorous stuff. Yeah, please no rigorous honesty from either one of you at bedtime. So it could also be physical sensations, changes in time, temperature, routine. You could be traveling. You could have guests. You could be going through something, getting over something, in the middle of something. Whatever it is, I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff so you could fall asleep. And what does that mean? Or why am I here? What's going on? Well, these are all good questions. So the reason I make the show is there's two. It's kind of twofold, I guess. One is that I know how it feels: trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep, trouble waking up early, getting all that stuff. And what I found is I tried a ton of different stuff, a ton of different advice, of methods, of things I paid for over my entire lifetime. And nothing really helped me on a consistent basis. And because nothing addressed how it really felt for me. And a lot of that advice and stuff, I guess to use the term, like I just didn't feel seen. And I didn't feel understood, like, hey, like I felt brushed off. I don't know. And I think a lot of sleep stuff is very narrow, right? Works for some people. It doesn't work for everybody when it's specific. So that's led me to this frustration of my sleep even getting worse and stuff. But I got curious, like, how come there's not a friend in the deep, dark night? Like other stuff I repurposed to do that really understands how I feel. And so that's the main thing I'm here to tell you is that, like, I may not understand exactly how you feel, but I think we could kind of connect at some of the underlying stuff, or at least come to an agreement that it's just not pleasant. And I feel that for you. Maybe you don't even need to feel it for me. Like, I could just be a one-way service. But if it's anything like it is for me, for you, I want to hold a nice place for you. And you may say, well, you just don't understand because I'm going through something different than you could possibly imagine. Your context is limited or whatever. And I'd say, well, yeah, that makes sense. But the good news is, even if I can't understand what you're going through, is that somewhere out there, there's enough people listening somewhere around the world, maybe even not in the same part of the world you're in. There's someone who's been through something very similar, and they're a regular listener, and they're welcoming you in. They're hoping, hey, this podcast helped me, and I know what that feels like, or I have a pretty close idea because I've been through something similar, and I know how it feels, and I hope this show can help you out. Or that you find something else that helps you out. And the regular listeners that feel that for you, they also hope you get the feeling they're getting right now, because they feel good rooting for someone somewhere else in the world who's gone through stuff that they've gone through and needs some rest. So it's a nice place to be rooted for and to be rooting for other people. You could experience both sides, maybe, but you don't need to, because all of this is optional and indirect anyway. So that's the thing. However it is for you, I hope I can help. And you also deserve a bedtime where you can get the rest you need so your life's more manageable tomorrow, so that your bedtime is a little bit more pleasant. At least you can feel neutral about it. Even if you can't get the rest, I don't know. Ideally, you start getting the rest you need on a regular basis. Your life is better, and you can be out there flourishing. And that's really my goal. The world's a better place with you in it, flourishing. But at least we could start with, like, hey, at least bedtime's not quite as bad because I got that sleep podcast to listen to. That's where we could try to get to. So that's why I'm here. The way the show works is I send my voice across the deep, dark night. I use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents. So I go off topic, I get mixed up, I forget what I was talking about, I repeat myself or misuse some words, all to keep you company and take your mind off stuff so you can fall asleep, which is a different approach, right? I don't even know if it's an approach. But this show works differently. So when you first get here, you may be skeptical, you may be doubtful, you may be frustrated, you might be irritable even because, well, one, if you've been searching in the deep dark night to try to find something to help you out, hopefully you find something you say, hey, this show kind of helps. It's a little bit different. I didn't know I was looking for something like this because I thought it was going to be bedtime stories. I had an expectation that it would be a little bit different, a little bit more soothing, maybe some light music. I don't know. That's how most people get here. Why wouldn't you? If you've been trying to find something to help you fall asleep in the middle of the night or your whole life or whatever it is you're dealing with right now, that makes sense. So if you're skeptical or doubtful, that's how most people get here. Now, some people, they already dislike me, and that's okay. All I can say is, if you try it a few times, this is what most listeners that support the show now, who are hardcore, long-term listeners, they had the same experiences you're having, right? When they first got here, they didn't like the show. They weren't sure about it. They were skeptical. They were doubtful. They were frustrated. But on the second or third try, for a lot of them, they realized at some point, oh, there is some sort of method to this. At some point I fell asleep, or at least I was comforted in the deep, dark night or distracted. Now I got my boyfriend. But it just kind of happens. Just like how I'm not here to put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company. and then you fall asleep. But if you discover you never like, or you already know you don't like me or the show, that's totally fine. There's a website set up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you, where you could find other sleep podcasts. You just fill out just a couple questions, and it brings you a list of other sleep podcasts and other sleepy stuff. Because everything I've said is still true, right? I still hope everything can help you out. So that's that part. What else do you need to know? Oh, most people don't like to, this is the podcast you just barely listen to, which is different, right? You just kind of barely listen to it. And that takes some getting used to, too. So just kind of see how it goes. Like it's kind of like background noise or a show streaming under your pillow, TV on in the other room, out of focus picture. It's something you could pay attention to, but you don't need to pay attention to it. It's kind of engaging. So that takes, try it out and see what it's like to barely, maybe ask people in my personal life. They say, yeah, he's barely listenable. I've been tuning him out my whole life, I've been barely listening to him during the day. So try it out at night. It may work. That's kind of where the show came from anyway. This is also a sleep podcast that doesn't put you to sleep. I've been making the show about 12 years when you're hearing this. And, like this is, even though it's a sleep podcast and bedtime stories for grownups, I'm not here to put you to sleep. There's no pressure to fall asleep with this show. I'm going to be here over an hour, so you don't have to worry about falling asleep. Because there's people listening who can't sleep at all or who need a break during the day. And I'm here to keep them company and keep you company, whether you're awake or asleep, whether you need me or not, whether you wake up and you turn me on later on. I'm here to keep you company, whether you're listening or not even, because that's my job. My job's not to put you to sleep. It's to be your boyfriend, your borbay, your borsib, your neighbor, your borby, your bors, your borman, your Boris Borloff, your best boyfriend forever, to keep you company, just to be here, just like you were calling me or you were, we had those tin can phones across. We had like we lived across this, whatever, I don't know, yard from one another, like on TV, or in an idealized environment, or I was just sending my voice. You could just hear it on the breeze, but the hot air. My brain just said, not breeze. Hot. Your voice would carry on hot air. It'd be carrying itself. And I say, thank you, brain. So, yeah, I mean, that'd be nice, depending on the temperature. It could be cool air, maybe because hot air rises, cold air sinks. So my hot air could be on the top of cool air. I'm just trying to figure out whatever your temperature, like what if we had some sort of temperature service like that? Well, yeah, I can hear him, but the cool air is actually coming in my room. He's above my room. So it's actually like, hey, he's kind of muffled. It's nice. You say, well, I could use some more of that the hot air. Well, I say, okay, I'll give you some warm air. It'll be a mix of the two. Whatever. Wayne Mahar and all meteorologists everywhere they're saying, what in the, well, this guy has no concept of, say, hot air rises, cold air sinks, right? Obviously, never the twain shall meet. Wrong, incorrect. They travel as layers. Maybe, I don't know. So, okay, what was I talking about? Oh, don't need to listen to me. I'm not here to put you to sleep. I'm just here to keep you company. The only other thing you structure the show. The show's structured in a very specific way to benefit the most amount of people it can. So, and it's adjustable. So if you become a regular listener, there's ways you can adjust the show to meet your preferences. But for most people, they prefer to listen to this ad-supported linear version. And a lot of people are new, or they kind of come and go, or they're going through something. And then we have a chunk of super listeners that listen all the time or most of the time, that listen on a regular basis. So if you're new or occasional listener, you're just going through something, this version probably works best for you. And you don't have to pay for it. It's optional, which is great. The sponsors enable us to do it. And so all of our versions of our show start off with a greeting. Friends beyond the binary, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. So everyone who's listening feels welcomed in. And you say, okay, I could check that show out. Then I usually say something silly, most of the time inadvertently, or I'm distracted. So you get a tone, you get a real taste of what the podcast is going to be like. Then there's sponsor support. Again, so people that are new, people who can't afford to support the show, or people that are just listening for a little while, they don't have to worry about it. Then there's a long meandering intro separate from the support, totally separate from the support. It's a show within a show where it takes me 20 minutes to introduce what the podcast is. But I follow a familiar structure, but every intro is different. So whatever it is that's keeping you awake, it feels distracted. There's a familiarity and a little bit of repetition, but every intro has a variety. So that, I don't know, I think that's just one of the things that works about this show, because whatever it is that keeps me awake, it can predict everything. It gets tired of every strategy I try. So I have to keep trying different stuff, keep a variety of things, but I also want something familiar. So that's why the intro is the same structure, but I make a new one for every episode, whatever we're on, 14, 15, I don't even know, 1,400 episodes or something. Now, the other reason that you might say, well, couldn't you do that in 5 minutes? I could, but the other purpose of the intro is to ease you into bedtime, not to put you to sleep. Having a bedtime, a wind down has been what's been shown to work. What works for me personally most of the time is getting eased into bedtime. So whether you're getting ready for bed, you're winding down, doing a chill activity, getting in bed, getting comfortable, or you got some other part of your routine, like this show could be a part of that, to have a buffer, because just falling asleep fast hasn't worked for me. Now, if you discover, well, if you fall asleep fast, Sleep With Me Plus is a place for you. But if you discover you prefer intro or something, just the stories of the show, you don't like these intros because it's too much hang time or whatever, don't worry. We have a podcast, Bedtime Stories from Sleep With Me. Ad supported in every podcast app. You can get that and just get the stories. Or the great thing about podcasts is you can build all kinds of playlists depending on what podcast app you like to use. Or you could even get out there and discover some new podcast apps. So that's why the intro goes on and on and on. Then there'll be support. Then there'll be our bedtime story. Then there'll be our episodically modular series, Get Besos, Big Farm in the Sky, PI. But we put out a variety of shows. Like every month, we try to alternate. Every other episode's a little bit different style and tone. But the spirit of the show is the same. And some people like everything we do, and some people like to pick and choose. And we have over 600 archive episodes right here in this podcast. So we work really hard. Myself and a team of people, we yearn and strive. Really hope I can help you fall asleep. So thanks again for coming by. And if this show makes your life better on a regular basis and you're hearing me and listening to me, that's rare. Like the making the life better on a regular basis is it does for a good amount of people. But someone that's paying attention right now and asking themselves like, hey, this podcast, how can I help the show that helps me? That's rare. And if you're that rare person, here's the ways you can give back and make sure we're here for you and everybody else. Thanks. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, ZocDoc. Now, I don't know about you, but everywhere I see there's different health trends, whether it's on social media, where I'm checking the news, on podcasts, like cottage cheese only, what about red light therapy? I'm actually interested in it, but will it solve all my problems? Shots of different oils or like waters or whatever in the morning, like drinking olive oil, drinking cider. I bet you there's one. How come there isn't one like standing on one foot? I mean, as long as you alternate, that could be my thing. What is it? It's not the penguins. What are those called? The pink ones. The flamingo method. Let's give it a rest, especially when that stuff's driven by algorithms, and turn to IRL healthcare professionals who can actually help you meet your health goals. And with ZocDoc, it's easy. You find doctors that are right for you and instantly book an appointment. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. With ZocDoc, you can book in-network appointments with over 100,000 doctors across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, primary primary care to urgent care and more. And here's the thing. I just moved. I'm just getting settled and getting ready to change my health insurance. I'm going to need to find multiple healthcare providers now. And I'm so grateful to work with ZocDoc, to hear listeners' stories of success with ZocDoc, because I want a good relationship with someone that meets my needs, right? So if that's what I'm thinking about, ZocDoc, maybe you should check it out too. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/sleep to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/sleep. ZocDoc.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, welcome to our episodically modular series, Get Besos, Big Farm in the Sky, PI. The episodically modular series, if you're new, means that it's a series with recurring characters, but it's episodically modular, meaning kind of the episodes, you could move them around and they would make sense on their own. I'll kind of set up this episode just in case you need it. And then if you're like a completist, just consider this the first episode, and then all the previous ones are prequels. Or like during the day or another night, you could make a playlist and listen to them all in order. But I really do make it episodically modular in a sense that's like, okay, I can listen to them out of order. I mean, if you're a completist or you like to do that, that's totally cool. But you could do both, is I guess what I'm saying. And we did that maybe like, I don't know, 10, 11 years ago because I said, based on feedback, like, because the show's supposed to be sleepy. Now, what is this series? Well, this is a two stories in one. Our friends James and Richie are trying to get their friend Jiff. Everything in this, well, not everything. A lot of this happens in realms, new realms, like post-earthly realms. So this particular episode will feature the Big Farm in the Sky PI. He was on Earth at one point, like living a regular life, and then he moved into the big farm. And where he went to the big farm, they said, hey, you could do whatever you want up here. He said, I want to be a PI. So he's the Big Farm in the Sky PI. And he helps people out. Or in previous seasons, this season he's helping out James and Richie find Jiff. Jeff Besos, the Jiff of Kisses, who's a titan of retail industry. And that's why James and Richie want to get with him, because they used to be titans of retail. And they kind of feel like, hey, we liked retail the way we did it. These titans, man, just like in the movies, this is a non-clash of the titans. But I mean, there's retail industry titans may clash, but in a more sleepy way in this episode. So right now, what's happening is a Big Farm in the Sky PI. He has an assistant, Diane, that he talks to, but he's trying to find Jiff, right? And he found this librarian, Lilith. Now, Lilith also, she's like a Big Farm in the Sky librarian like just for the Florida region. Apparently, there's a part of the Big Farm in the Sky or some other post-earthly realm that's like a Florida post-earthly realm. Because she said, man, I lived in Florida. I'll do a little post-earthly time in Florida. She was a classics professor who became a librarian in her post-earthly position. And she really liked it. So they met because Simon, the Big Farm in the Sky PI, he was doing research trying to find out some of these mythological characters so he could find Jiff. He found out about this conference that we believe Jiff is speaking at. And it's for people that work in the business of running the post-earthly realms. Or business might be the wrong word because, but like in, let's see. Well, there's like fictional movies, right? So there's the one with Betelgeuse, or there's the one Defending Your Life, or A Good Place, right? When you watch those, there's like people that are kind of working there, right? So this conference, and those are all, I mean, I don't know, those may be fictional post-earthly realms. So I don't know if they actually exist or not. But similarly, the real post-earthly realms also have not employees, but people that what is it called when you do a job because you love it? A calling, but there's an official word for it, but I don't know. Unfortunately, it's not pastime either. But it's like something like that, where it sounds like, oh boy, this is it, because I do this. Oh, I almost had it. Not occupation. Definitely not. My brain said occupation. I said, no. It's like nice sounding. I mean, kind of like making a sleep podcast. But so Simon, the Big Farm in the Sky PI, and Lilith, this librarian, they found out that the GIF is at this conference. So their plan was to go to this conference and find Jiff. Well, that was the Big Farm in the Sky's PI's job. Lilith was she said she knew about the conference because she said, you have at least a couple times a year, or once a year, they have this conference with like people from the post-earthly realms that run it or work there, however you want to define it. And she said, it's got to be amazing. Like, because they're not all from our world, right? They're not all from like regular mammalian human realm, probably. So probably cool stuff. So she was like, I'll tell you about the conference if you take me with you. So the current plan is for Simon to get into this post-earthly realm and get to the bottom of it, I guess. So I guess that's it. Like, this is Big Farm. Oh, no, I have sorry. Oh, my goodness. Goodness gracious. I forgot that we have a Hollywood announcer who announces all our series, but I forgot somehow. Sorry. So without further ado, here's Mr. Antonio Banderas. So friends behind the bus. It's okay, Scooter. I've only been sitting here for 3 hours and 42 minutes. Kidding. Yeah. So ladies, the gentlemen, so boys and girls, it's time to get sleepy. Big Farm in the Sky. P.I. Get Besos. Yeah. Wow, thanks, Antonio. Thanks about you. I mean, that wasn't, people take what you say seriously. You haven't been here for, maybe 2 hours, maybe. I actually forget about you, but that was only because I was in the zone. So I apologize. A lot of people would say, how could you, and I said, I've been trying for years. How could you forget that Antonio Banderas is sitting in your unkempt bedroom right now as you're packing to move? But he's here. He was just sitting on a box, like exactly, just like you picture him. Amidst the chaos, there's gravitas. And he was, that's what I like, if anybody's a sculptor, it's kind of like the Thinker, but like less cold. I mean, no offense to the Thinker, less cold. The warmest thing, like you'd say, okay, would you make that Thinker in like warm clay? I mean, but he's not thinking. He's just sitting there. His legs are crossed on a box. He makes it all look grand. And he was just listening to me appreciate. I talk about a boost. It's not to my self-esteem or my ego. Whatever the opposite of the limbic system is, what is that called? Like where you're soothing my limbic system just by, like, I don't know how he does it. That's why he's beloved. I mean, in addition to a lot of other qualities. But yeah, that was Mr. Antonio Banderas. This is Big Farm in the Sky PI. Thanks, everybody. All right, Diane, it's me. We're reporting in here with an update. And you'd be surprised, Diane, you, Diane, you wouldn't be surprised. I'm saying you'd be surprised. That's funny. You wouldn't be surprised at all to know that a little treat goes a long way. I guess you're the one that taught me that, Diane. And so I used some treats that were hard to get. Well, that I was like, I wonder if these are hard to get. I guess because when I define treats that are hard to get, Diane, and this, I guess, was a trick with a treat. But treats that are hard to get are sometimes treats you forgot to get that you forgot about. And that's what I try to use here. I keep a couple treats on hand. And it always seems to work. What worked today was, whatchamacallit, Charleston Chew Yes, for Diane. Well, bite-sized Charleston chews in a variety of flavors and some Laffy Taffy. And Laffy Taffy actually was a lot of people still remember it. Next time I'm going to try fruit by the foot, Diane. Maybe some, what are those things called? The ones that are like a fruit by the foot, fruit roll-ups. But I think you can get those, or I've seen them before in G&DK's apartment. But so we say, how do you get into a conference center without, anybody but, without, when you're not invited or you're not sure you're invited or you don't want to be seen? People that run the loading docks, they're always happy, even if they're not earthbound or former earthbound beings. When you tell them, hey, when was the last time you had a Charleston chew? And they say, I don't know what that is. Or they say, oh, Charleston chew. Oh, boy, I haven't thought about that in years, or never heard of it. And then you show it to them, or they bring it up in their mind. And you say, well, actually, Diana had the full-size ones, too. Oh, this is the best deal ever, So those got us in through the loading dock, basically. Whatchamacallit, 3 different flavors of Charleston chew and some Laffy Taffy. And we were laughing we shared it too. They said, well, we're going to open these up right now. So we got in the loading dock of this conference. This conference is taking place for people that work in the world, the life after life, I guess what you'd say. Post-earthly realms, and not just post-earthly realms. Well, I guess I'm assuming that, Diane. I don't think they allow some of these things. Some of these beings are beyond my understanding. But I guess it's all This conference is just for post-earthly realms, and I was thinking about it. Just sometimes I forget that when I see non-mammalian humans. But then I say, oh, that's a demigod or demigoddess or some sort of. Anyway, Diane. It is important in this situation. Because we got right when we came in, we accidentally went from a service hallway. Because the loading dock, I said we still got to do load unload, so we can't just go through those doors. You'll be fine. And it turns out and maybe this is synchronicity, maybe not, Diane. We ended up in a place we weren't supposed to be there, but we were supposed to be there. I guess in a sense we got caught because we stumbled into a conference room. And when I say stumbled, I mean stumbled because the door stuck. And I said, well, I guess this is the door. I'm going to have to give it a little heave-a-ho. Lilith was helping, and we fell over one another into the room, and we looked like a couple of, I guess we weren't prepared. This was a formal a pitch room. Now, the people in the pitch room thought this was part of our act, because there's somebody scheduled to be there that didn't show up for the pitch, and we were... so we were late, but we made quite the entrance. You're a little bit late, but because of that entrance, we'll put you back at 0. And Lilith and I were kind of speechless for a minute, and they said, is this part? Go ahead and get started. And then someone else chuckled. This was a panel of people that at first I wasn't sure, Diane. I guess I lay out what happened piece by piece so we can look at it together. And then someone said, we like the outfits. You dress as a couple of average humans or former humans. That's hilarious. Unemployable, and with us. But they said, what are you going to they kind of made jokes at the expense of regular post-earthly humans. And it seems like they do consider themselves, they did consider themselves superior to Lilith and I, but they thought Lilith and I were pretending to be Lilith and I. And then they were so superior that they said, a little tropey though, dressing as regular humans. No offense. And they said, why don't you get your pitch started? And I had to think fast, Diane. And I said, well, I'm just a regular, mope. And I said, why don't you explain it to me like I'm human? And they said, oh, like the podcast, like the Harris's podcast, talking human, humble human bragging, talking humble human bragging to me. And I said, oh, well, like, just like I'm a regular human, explain to me why I'm here, what this pitch is, what you're expecting. Because and then Lois said, we're only human. We're bound to make our share of mistakes. And I don't think they got that reference, but one of the people who was in charge was a big fan of this Talking Human podcast. I guess it's a comedy podcast. It was really funny because they were laughing a lot. And they said, oh, okay, we'll play along, especially it's like kind of like a cat made of a smooth marble who said, sure, like I'll explain it to you like you're human. You're late for your pitch, and you're pitching, we're going to choose where we're going. And whoever has the best pitch not only gets to have their, wherever they're pitching we go, but you get to go without being in the lottery. Now, so that's pretty great. And I said, if only I was like you and not a human, I'd understand what you were talking about. And they said, yeah, right. So you're here to pitch us on the, our awesome autumnal event here, the excursion. That's one of the biggest things for this autumnal version of the conference, where we're going to go for the seasonal celebration. And, it's very rare to get chosen to attend. Only so many of us can go without disturbing the time-space continuum, obviously, and all that, those things. Don't want to pull a Besos, We don't want to pull an RW, and they had to laugh at that. And that reference I kind of understood. And I said, oh, yeah, but we're only human. We're trying to hone our pitch, and we're still confused, right, Lilith? And Lilith said, totally confused. So we're doing an autumnal pitch for, and they said most people pitch, the whole reason we do it is so we can go on the trick and treat trail or somewhere, go to trick and treating. And I said, you're all going to go trick-or-treating? And they said, well, we are on the board, so we do get to go as well. But, we have a lottery. Anyone can enter it that's a guest at the conference or part of the participating in the conference, official registered participants, and there's a lottery. So those people are selected. And I said, well, pretend I don't know anything, just like a human. They said, okay, so the people that win the lottery and those that get to go, let's say you picked, East Bay, California. Okay, East Bay, California. And your pitch was chosen. I mean, that wouldn't be, you'd have to have something interesting. The winners, the attendees of the conference that are chosen to go on this excursion would get to go, Casper treating. And I said, Casper treating. And they said, okay, so they'll get to go, they'll get to embody someone that's, they'll get to ride along basically, or be with, they'll get to experience as someone that's, as a kid or whatever that's out there, trick-or-treating. And I said, oh, okay. And they said, it's great. And they said, haven't you ever experienced that effect before if you were really an earthbound being, or you can relate to earthbound beings, the effect. And I said, I don't know the effect. And we said the Casper treat effect. And I said, I don't know the Casper treat effect. And they said, okay, were you earthbound being at some point? And they said, clearly I was earthbound being at some point. And I said, okay. So you probably, as earthbound being, did you celebrate the wean to the hollow? And we said, yeah, we did. And they said, okay, search your memory banks for a memory of a time when you went and you acquired like a large amount of treats. Okay, I remember that. Okay, is it possible, is the amount of treats in your mind more than is possible for you to acquire? Yeah, I guess so. I always have this one memory, but I can't quite place it. Lilith, me too. Yeah, I always have this memory like filling an entire pillowcase full of candy, but I don't think that's possible. Right, it's not possible. But when we're there, we're able to kind of like, that's how it happens. It's the Casper treat effect. We're able to, make sure you get more treats that time, but you just have a vague memory. But yeah, you'd have to been out there for 10 hours to get that bag filled, right? Yeah, and other people would talk about it. Well, we filled 2 pillowcases full of candy. But yeah, the specifics were never right. So anyway, we got to get, we got another group coming in. So we're going to have to get to your pitch now. Do you have an understanding of what you're pitching? I think we do. Lilith, do you have an understanding? Yeah, we're going to pitch. This is this is how it went, Diane. Lilith said, yeah, we're going to pitch Florida. Oh, yeah, Florida, huh? That's interesting. Yeah. And then I said, Diane, yeah, not just any place in Florida, but the towns. Oh, the towns. Isn't that a retirement village? It's a retirement lifestyle community, actually. But, yeah, it's active lifestyle community. But, yeah, it's, I think that's going to be exciting because they do celebrate there and the residents go trick-or-treating. Wait a second. So we won't go trick-or-treating as kids. We'll go trick-or-treating as active lifestylers. Yeah, people living active lifestyle, or, somewhat active, moderately active. But there will be, people go trick-or-treating there. Wait a second. I never heard a pitch like this before. It's always for kids, but this could be exciting. So we'll go to the largest active lifestyle or whatever lifestyle community for while people are retiring, though, or maybe not retiring, whatever you're saying. Okay, well, that's it for your pitch, but we like it. I think we're all nodding our heads. So why don't you hold on, my phone's ringing. I'm just using human terms, obviously. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Yeah, no. I mean, real humans? No, we got a couple of people pretending to be human, but they're not doing a very good job. But no, we haven't seen any real humans. If either you two, this is what they said to me, Dan. Either you two seen any real humans? Because you two are kind of the least good fake humans we've ever seen. Though we really like the Florida idea. So are you going to go as humans, or are you going to wear different costumes? Because we're going to go straight from the announcement area. So when we announce the winner, you better be ready in costume to go. If you're going to wear human costumes to a human thing, I don't know about that. Also, I guess it's clear you're wearing costumes. So, but have you two seen any humans, regular, real humans? Lilith, you seen any regular, real humans? What? Yeah, no, neither one of you. I guess, I don't know. I wouldn't know what to do. Okay, yeah, you two are, so, okay, we'll take your pitch in mind. It's pretty good. Lilith and Simon. Simon's the name. Okay. Why don't you two head out? The rallies are starting, so you probably want to get to one of those. I'm sorry, we're still human. What are the rallies? Oh, well, this is kind of unprecedented. I guess if you're human, you don't quite understand. Okay, but your pitch is already done. Anyway, I really like this interaction. So, we're having the vote to change, a lot of our mandates for, post-earthly existences. And in the spirit of the conference. A lot of it's bringing together, but it's also changing some of the priorities. Introducing the concept of currency is kind of the main one, and then turning management over, having an earthbound being as part of the management team. Technically, they'll be called the CEO or founder or something. That GIF, really like that GIF. So everybody's, obviously, I guess you're human, so you don't quite understand. So, obviously we do everything by consensus here, not like, so the rallies are just a chance for, to build consensus or discuss things and, see where there's opportunity to build consensus. It doesn't seem like it's going to go through, though, because... But anyway, you could you could go participate. That is what we do here in the poster. Well, not everybody participates, obviously. But yeah, great pitch. We'll see you later. Oh, by the way, they're going to check, like if you could go down the hallway before you go to the rally, they did say they want to just double check your human costumes because they're looking for these two humans that snuck in. But I told them, there's no way it's you two. You're not human. Holy moly. Last time I saw humans like you, it sound like a bit boring. So you must have. Anyway, okay, so yeah, head out. So after that, Diane, we headed out, but we knew that just down the hall they were going to check us for a human see if we're humans or post-earthly humans, and that they were looking for us. So we went in the opposite direction. And then we said, well, we might as well get costumes. And we happened to stumble upon one rally that was making costumes and trying to build consensus while they were making costumes, Diane. Now, this wasn't a huge group of people, well, large enough that we could mix in. And we were able to start building. And Lilith had an idea for our costumes, which I'll tell you about in a minute. Because it's a post-earthly realm, a lot of craft things easily available. So we started crafting, Diane, and putting together stuff and just discussing things. Now, they said, oh, yeah, well, you could go to the biggest rally is going to be for the people. But they said, yeah, we're kind of the two strongest opposition groups, as well as some of the pro groups, small crowds. We're the groups with the strongest feelings about it. But we don't really, so we're going to try to build consensus anyway, discuss it. But it doesn't seem like it really has any chance of passing. So we're just going to try to build consensus so we know for the next time it comes through and make our costumes. We're all trying to craft costumes. And so Lilith and I were working on our Lilith had the idea, not me, Diane. But I said, tell me a little bit about what's happening. We were going to dress as humans, but then we realized that was silly. So yeah, that's why we're just post-earthly humans, not employees, the conference. And they said, oh, yeah, that's everybody. First time at the conference, a lot of people dress as post-earthly humans or some form. And a lot of people still will. Most of the people that are going to vote against it, they're at the Photobooth rally, or that's what we call it. But, yeah, we're just discussing, pros and cons, all these changes. But, biggest group is the group that is kind of, they care enough. You kind of have to, you don't have to vote in it, but, most people choose to participate because you're less likely to get invited. You got to participate in order to, you got to sign up to participate. And then they have the rally. So then the lotteries happen, and if you've chosen to participate, that's how you get chosen to go on the trip, and then everybody else votes. Okay, so the people that go on the trip don't vote. Yeah, because it's the only way they've figured out over, thousands and thousands of years that, Yeah, that way everybody wants to go on this trick-or-treating thing. I mean, I really do. You can also win the costume contest and go. But yeah, I mean, it just ensures everybody's otherwise what happened, they tried it other ways in the history of time. I mean, this conference isn't that old. I was just using thousands of years as a term, but, people used to, they would say they're going to vote, and then they wouldn't, but they would still want to go on. They'd still get it. They'd say, okay, yeah, I'll promise to vote as long as I can go on and be in the lottery for the excursion. But then they wouldn't necessarily vote, or they may even show but it's not really about voting, right? It's about the momentum of consensus. Not to everybody, I guess. Sounds complicated. Well, it's not. It's kind of simple. I guess that's what makes it complicated. So between all of you, you haven't found consensus between those of you that disagree and disagree about the future changes. Now, it's kind of tough, the idea of currency in the post-earthly realm and jobs and having to go to work. And the idea that, that would be something most people got to choose, right? We chose. I mean, some of us is part of our, this is part of our existence working in the post-earthly realms, and then we'll go on to a different post-earthly realm. We're not human. But the idea of the humans, I don't know, it just changes a lot, right? It changes the whole value system that then you just work. You work, like it's kind of like the heaven on earth, but it's like, so then instead of... what you understand? No, I don't understand. Well, I mean, my opinion is that the old ways are pretty good. Some of the newer ways that are a little more open-minded are better. But this idea is kind of like taking the stuff from the old ways that I didn't like. I mean, it's not eternity, but what if someone had to work somewhere for a very long time, and then they were like, oh, well, you've worked off, the time, the poor choices you've made. While you were doing that, you also earned currency that now you can use in the post-earthly realms. Either one of those, and then you say, well, but what if I don't want to do this job? I've been doing it now for a long time, and I'd like to explore my, my other things, but now I'm like, this is part of my routine, and I'm used to this currency. The whole idea, I guess for me, it's the idea of currency in post-earthly realms, and exchanging, it's too earthbound, man, and I don't like it. I guess that's, so, yeah, I guess building consensus is kind of tough. Okay, well, I understand what you're saying, but so if you were to sum up why it's not going to go through, do you think that's why? Oh, no, it's just that the largest group that's going to be at the Photobooth rally, you could head over there and check it out. It'll be a pretty good time. They don't really care that much either way. But they're against, anything they could be against just slightly, they'd be against, except that they don't have a choice whether they have to participate, to be able to, they really want to go on the trip. So it's like they have to participate in the consensus, which part of the consensus is saying yay or nay. And they'd normally say nay no matter what, especially if there's change. Because they don't want things changing, right? Even if it was for the better, they'd probably vote nay. So that, I think there's enough. Without that, that's a pretty good chunk of any group, And so they'll vote. They're going to vote nay, and they have a lot of nostalgia for whatever it is, even the stuff that's not so great. You say, really, you have nostalgia for that? You have brimstone nostalgia. I have trouble believing. Anyway, that's just my issues. I'm sorry, Simon. Oh, no problem. I was just curious anyway. So thanks for filling me in. I guess Well, so these, what do you think of our costumes? Well, yours looks pretty good. So what are your velvet paintings? Oh no, we're velvet black light paintings. Okay, well, it's missing something. Oh, what do you think I'm missing? Well, I think you should put some goop in your hair. Because I get that you're kind of like a velvet painting of Elvis, but it doesn't really work. Like if your hair was neon pink or neon yellow, in my opinion, that'd be a great costume. Otherwise, it's just, I mean, I think like Lilith's I like, because hers is like from the, like, that rock group with all the posters, but yours, I think, yeah, it needs something. Okay, do you have, oh yeah, we've got goop here. How about pink goop? It won't dry for quite some time, and let's cake it in there. Oh boy, let's make a pompadour now. Wow, now you really, because see the ethereal black light, now it really makes your pink pompadour shine. It is shiny and greasy, though, with goop. And I've kind of, it's a kind of pretty, like it's the goop will be self-sustaining till the costume contest. I used some of my powers. Okay, thank you. Yeah, you look great. I mean, I build consensus on that. I'd vote for you to win. I think you might win with that pink. All right, we're going to head over to the photo booth rally. Okay, I'll see you later. Okay, well, so let's what are we going to do now? Let's head over to this photo booth rally, and we're going to try to find out. Oh, no, you're going to go. Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. You're going to go. Oh, you're going to stay with these you're going to help people make costumes. Okay, I'll just go by myself. So that was it, Diane. I headed off to this other rally of people that were going to vote nay on issue at hand. And we, now the biggest line there was for these photo booths. Well, I thought there was photo booths. There was only one photo booth. But it turns out, Diane, just like last time, I ended up, it wasn't open yet. And I stumbled in, and I was the only person. This photo booth makes your costumes, I guess. And they said, perfect. Like, we need someone to calibrate the machine anyway. Now, they were all, like, these are all post-earthly employees or conference attendees. And so I said, oh, you need me to calibrate the machine? They said, yeah, you're already in a costume. We'll see if this costume it fits. And I said, it kind of fits. Now, the problem with the photo booth with a head full of goop, Diane, is like my goop got all over the top of the photo booth, those curtains. My goop got everywhere. And because it was some sort of cosmic goop, everybody, I'll just tell you the spoiler, Diane, everybody who used that photo booth ended up with goop on them. And they weren't happy about it. Because this booth was supposed to just, instead of making your own costume, it made a costume for you. And most of them were pretty, I don't know, they were very, just like ones mass market costume equivalent in the post-earthly realm, I'd say, Diane. And it didn't even like my costume. It said that I should have been dressed as like in a sailor suit with a lollipop. And I said, what is that? The dude from, like, is that the kid from Cracker Jacks? No one, everybody looked at me. I said, anybody want a Charleston Chew? And they said, yeah, oh, yeah. But so all these people there, they just wanted to have their costume chosen for them. Out of 3, the machine would give them 3 choices. And I guess these are the kind of costumes if you wanted to feel like you're in or something. I don't know. Anyway, I guess I don't know why I'm I know I'm soured on it, Diane. And I kind of asked around. I mean, I guess everybody wasn't nice to me after. They said, dude, look at this, Like, I'm like this cool cat now, but I got goop on my collar and my head, and I can't get it out. And I said, well, I'm sure the hotel showers have cosmic powers, so you'll be fine later. And they said, yeah, but that's not the point. Like, I got to go, hopefully I win in the thing, and I'm going to go trick-or-treating or whatever. And I said, well, you don't just, like, it's just goop in the larger scheme of things. So that's kind of, I guess, why my mood changed, Diane. And basically I had to leave because everybody there was not nice to me because I gooped them. I felt a little bit like you can't do that on television. So I headed back, looked for Lilith, and then they said, okay, this is the time. Like, then the start of the buildup started, where everybody was starting to gather in the grand ballroom, or grand ballroom equivalent. This was pretty grand, Diane. It was cosmic. And I needed some distance, so there was, like, luckily a second floor balcony overlooking the main floor, which is full of people, a lot of which I recognize because, Diane, one, I recognized some people from the first rally I went to because they recognized me. They said, oh, there you, like, you're looking good with that pink hair, Simon. And I said, thank you, hubba hubba or whatever. But they, because they had black lights, because costumes always look better. And they had music playing and stuff. It was very, ballroomy, drinks, food. And interesting to kind of see, not a mix of, it was just a great mix of people in costumes, and some of which were non-earthly beings in costumes as it's like, oh boy. But I could tell who was at the last rally I went to because of the black lights on the second floor. I could see them all glowing with like pink spots, or their hair had a pink spot on it. And then the next thing I know, they're announcing, there's this big announcer. They say, oh, yeah, we're going to vote soon. But before we vote, who's headed out? So this was the 31st. I didn't realize it. And then there's a couple other people on the thing. And I said, well, what do I expect if we win? And they said, it'll be great because time runs different. And so you're going to be like, you could be trick-or-treating for a long time. It's going to feel great. So everybody's really excited to hopefully get to participate in this. And then they announced it, and they actually had Lilith there. And they said the winner, is where are we headed? This is with our winner. So I guess they already knew. And they said, yeah, this is where are we headed? And Lilith said, Florida, the towns. And Lilith, so I guess I was realizing what I forgot was that this was Lilith's kind of like a dream come true, being a part of this conference. So for Lilith, it was very exciting. And then they said, by the way, you and your friend won the costume contest, too. People kind of booed because we were already going to get to go on the trip. And she said, give it to the runners-up. And, the runners-up were like a horse, but both rears, so kind of like a comedy horse where two rears of a horse found each other. Like when the two people dress as a horse, Diane, but like the double back legs of a horse. So they came in second. So they got to go. They were happy. And everybody said was cheering for Florida. Then they started reading off the winners. A lot of that was like in, I don't know, these different terms, names that I couldn't quite grasp. But I did start to notice something, Diane. So like a portal opened up, and they would double check. They'd call your name, and then they'd hand you a trick-or-treating bag. Then they double check your credentials, and they were like, telling us, like Lilith, and they're like, get down here, if you're qualified. But every person that won the lottery, Diane, had a pink goop on them. And I said, wait a second, everybody that's winning has pink goop on them. And they started going through the portal, every single person. And that's when I noticed, and they were looking right at me. And they were standing next to Lilith. I had to be Jif. I had finally found Jif. Now, Jif was dressed as a blanket with a name tag that said Blanco. Which at first I said, what is that? Like a cloud? And I said, and I just walked up to him because I knew he's standing next to Lilith for a reason. And he said, I said, hi, Blanco or Blanco? He said, hi, Simon. I heard you've been looking for me. And I said, yeah, there's no reason to get Lilith involved, though. And he said, no, there's no reason to get Lilith involved at all. And I said, interesting move on the vote. What do you control the lottery? And he said, how'd you figure that out? And I said, well, I happened to get my hair, you notice how my hair's pink and goopy? I happened to get my hair goop on everything. And so I could see everybody. I said, you're trying to get everybody that is against, like people that aren't really interested in participating, but participate so they kind of vote against it or whatever. And he said, yeah. Yeah, they all won the lottery. It's going to be too bad. They won't be here. And hopefully we'll build some consensus for change. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, we'll have one more discussion after this hubbub is done. And because of the changes in time, you'll have plenty of time to build a consensus, but I think I can persuade everyone, because I have, everything at my behest. And I have a very good understanding of what motivates former earthbound beings and the people that serve them. And I said, well, that's interesting, Jif. But I said, I think I have something, an idea. And he said, what? I said, let's step over this portal here, before we go anywhere. And he said, no. And then I bumped I bumped him with my hair so that it's kind of like just like hair gel, Diane. But he didn't let you, he's a human, so it got in his eyes. And he said, I can't quite see. And I said, dude, I said, Lilith, you got to help me. So we pulled him behind the stage because there's so much hubbub going on. No one was paying attention to the three of us. And I said, put your costume on him. And because he was kind of wasn't very resistant. He was just worried about, it was kind of easy, I guess, Diane. Plus, I know what I'm doing. So we got him dressed in Lilith's costume. And I said, excuse my friend here. We went through the portal, I guess is what I'm saying. Or we're going through the portal. I guess you take a break. You should go through the portal so you're rested when you get there. So, yeah, right now we're resting, Diane. But, so we're going through the portal. Me and Jif. Jif's also as a blacklight poster. But we're going to get to Florida. And I don't know what happens there. I guess we get matched with retirees or active lifestyle livers. And we get to go with them while they trick or treat. But I just wanted to I didn't feel like it was fair that Jif would get his way. Also, I think if I can hold on to Jif, then I've finally completed my job, as this case could be closed soon, Diane. Though right now we're in the middle of a portal dressed as velvet painting, so we'll see. So right now I'm going to rest Diane with Jeff here, dressed as Lilith, dressed as Black White Velvet painting poster. I'll talk to you soon. Good night, Diane.